Let's begin with the breath. Raise your arms to inhale and release arms down to exhale. Then stretch arms to the left, back to center, then right. Let's take a twist to the right, back to center, then to the left. Now we will swing our arms from right to left. Arms then extend outward as we transition to wide leg forward bend. Now grab the big toe of each foot to make the stretch deeper by pulling your torso towards your legs. Now both arms reach towards the right leg, then the left. Back and forth. Rise up, arms in T position, then above your head, then to your waist. Rotate your hips left, then right, back and forth. And breathe. Now make circular motions with your hips to the left and then to the right. Then move hips backward, then forward. Then wide leg forward bend. If you'd like to deepen the stretch, reach for your toes, feet, or behind your legs. Now let's stretch our arms, shoulders, and upper back by moving our arms in a wave-like fashion. And both arms forward and backward. Then we're going to roll one arm forward and one arm behind, side to side. Now arms above your head with legs apart. Take a couple breaths. You're going to bend your right leg and move hands to the right foot. Then right leg straightens and left leg bends while arms reach for left foot. So you're going to go to the right leg, to the left leg, back to center. Right, left, center. Keep going. Now let's go the other way, starting with the left leg. Keep going and breathe. Now let's go a little faster. Make the exercise flow. Let's go back to the right with the flow. Bend and take a few breaths. Transition on hands and knees to tabletop. Begin cat-cow to neutralize the back. Rock hips side to stretch out the side body. Transition to Sun Salutation A. I'm going to go to Puppy Dog, Cat-Cow, Down Dog. Back to Puppy Dog, Kneeling Prayer. Begin the sequence again. Rise up and arch. Puppy Dog, Cat-Cow, to Down Dog. Breathe. To Puppy Dog. Arch your back. Prayer. And again. Up and over. Puppy Dog. Cat-Cow, to Down Dog. Back down to the knees. Arch back. Prayer pose. Again. Arch your back. Puppy Dog. Cat-Cow, to Down Dog. Back down to Puppy. Up and over. Prayer pose. Finish with Cat-Cow. Now we're going to do some spinal twists. Left leg straight, toe flexed, right leg bent, while crossed over the left. Right arm up and over to the right side of your body. Twist to the left to counter stretch. I'm going to switch sides, right leg straight, left leg bent while crossed over the right. Left arm up and over the left side of your body. And then twist to counter. Transition to perfect pose and take a couple of breaths. Now we will begin our sun salutation. Begin in mountain pose. Raise to extended mountain pose. Swan dive down to deep forward fold. Halfway. Walk or jump back to plank. Chaturanga to up dog. Then down dog. Walk hands back to forward fold. Rise, and then walk to the front of the mat to begin again. Mountain pose, extended mountain pose. Swan dive down, halfway to plank. Chaturanga to up dog, to down dog. Bring your hands back to feet for forward fold. Rise and begin again. Mountain to extended mountain. Swan dive to deep forward fold. Halfway to plank. Chaturanga to up dog. To down dog. Hands to feet. Clasp the arms behind your back. Do a forward fold. Let's begin again. Mountain pose. Extended mountain. Swan dive down to deep forward fold. Halfway to plank. Now we are going to transition to side plank with the left arm on the mat. Right arm in the air. Stretch your right arm past your head and then back into position. Stretch again. And then back to plank. Now let's complete side plank on the other side. Right arm on the mat, left in the air. Now stretch right arm over your head. Back to position. Then stretch again. Transition back to plank. Downward facing dog. Take your left arm and reach for your right leg. Now right arm and left leg. Back to down dog. Walk your hands back to your legs. Rise and then begin sequence again. Mountain pose. Extended mountain. Swan dive down to deep forward fold. Halfway, walk or jump back to plank. Transition to forearm plank. Then we're going to do forearm plank, left arm on the mat. Stretch the right arm past your head. Back into position. Do it again. Back to forearm plank. Let's move to the right side. forearm plank, and then stretch the left arm past our head. Again. And then we're going to move back to forearm plank and then rise to standard plank. And then transition to down dog. Then take your right leg and stretch it across to your left side with right arm over your head. Back to plank, and now the other side. Quick plank to down dog. Walk hands back to your feet for forward fold. Rise and begin sequence again. Mountain pose. Extended mountain pose. Swan dive down to forward fold. Halfway. Walk or jump back to plank. I'm going to go down to forearm plank with the left arm to the mat. If you're able, lift your right leg for a nice stretch. Back to side plank. Then forearm plank. And then we will transition to the other side. Right arm to the mat. And if you can, lift leg up. You can do it. Back to forearm plank. To dolphin pose. Then to child's pose. Rise and begin sequence again. Mountain pose, extended mountain pose, swan dive down, halfway to plank, and down to forearm plank. And we're going to do a side plank with the left arm on the mat. Take your right leg back to meet your right arm. Back to side plank, then forearm plank, and then we're going to change sides. Left leg back to meet your left arm. Back to side plank, then forearm plank, dolphin pose, Breathe in child's pose. Take a breath and rise to down dog. Hands back to legs for a forward fold. Rise and then begin again. Mountain pose. Extended mountain pose. Swan dive down halfway. Walk or jump to plank. And you're going to place your right knee in between your arms and hold. Then you're going to straighten the right leg and hold while attempting to bounce by raising your left arm in the air at the same time. Back to down dog. Then back to plank and repeat on the other side. Left leg in between arms and hold. Then you are to straighten your left leg, hold while attempting to balance with right arm in the air. Back to down dog. As you could see, I made a little mistake there. No one's perfect. Transition to child's pose. Breathe. Take a few breaths in kneeling prayer position. Begin in mountain pose, then arms above head into extended mountain pose, and swan dive down to deep forward fold. Lift halfway, arms to the mat, then jump or walk back to plank. Breathe. Then transition to downward dog. You will then use your arms to support your body as you spread your legs outward and around into seated staff pose, and slowly use your abdominals to descend into corpse pose. Now we will transition to shoulder stand. We will now begin a shoulder stand cycle, beginning with one-legged extended shoulder stand with first the right, then the left leg. If you are unable to do a shoulder stand, you can keep your back on the mat and lift both legs to the sky and hold. Transition to plow pose. And then bring both legs as close to your head and mat as possible for ear pressure pose. Again, if any positions become too difficult, cat-cow, bridge pose, or child pose are always available to you. Now from plow pose, bring knees to forehead and breathe. Back to shoulder stand, then to plow. Then you're going to spread your legs into a wide V. Using your abdominals, slowly lower your legs and back down to the mat. Then transition to staff pose to double leg forward stretch. Knees can be slightly bent. Now back to hands and knees, and let's realign our spine with some cat-cow. Back to down dog. Walk or jump your legs to your hands. Rise up to extended mountain pose with a slight arch. Then arms at your sides for mountain pose. Breathe in and out. Pull your abdominals inward. Pull your pelvic bone under. Now, raise to extended mountain pose, swan dive down. Rise to halfway, hands to the mat. Walk or jump to a plank. Hold. Then to downward dog. Bring arms closer to your body, shoulder width apart. Widen your legs. And again, use your arms as you slide your legs forward into a V and then close legs. Now we will transition to lotus pose. Crossing legs without placing feet on thighs is a good modification. Then we will use our arms to lift our legs and sit bones, which is scale pose. The more steady you are, the more you've mastered. So I have a lot of work to do. Remain in lotus pose and transition to inverted lotus pose. You can use your hands to your back for support. Breathe. Roll back down. And let's repeat the pose. As you see, I am using my hands and arms as a support. Release from the pose, and with arms raised, descend to double leg forward stretch.